Well, hello there. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope podcast to listen to. Listen to. Listen to. Listen to. Welcome back to Uncle Ricardo's Storytime. This is my co-host. Can you jump up that high? No? Chico, he will be along shortly, I'm sure, when he goes around and then... Oh, hello. Hi. Yeah, I was just running an errand. I'm trying to make these podcasts faster and quicker and shorter, so I figured I would pop on and tell a few amusing stories. I just ran an errand, starting to get the hang of this whole goaltending thing, so I took my practice jersey over to this local place to get a half-assed team logo put on the chest. And I'm walking out of the store, and this dude from across the parking lot closes his door right away and waves at me. And I don't know if it felt like he must have been waiting for me, but I don't know him. When I have this thing, people mistake me for everybody all the time. But this dude is like, he gets out, he like waves, and I wave at him, and he does the head down run thing across the parking lot, and then he runs up to me and he goes and just goes skulking off. I'm like, no, not the guy you thought I was, buddy. But yeah, I get mistaken for other people all the time. Celebrities, regular people. I had this one dude run up to me and was like, forget where I was. I was traveling, and he goes, oh my God, Paul, what the hell? And he grabs me by the shoulders, and I was like, whoa, dude. And he goes, oh my God, man, what are you doing in town? Like, da 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 da. And I go, I'm not Paul. And he goes, shut up, man. Like, what the fuck? When did you get into town? I'm like, I'm not Paul, bro. Like, my name's Nick. What? I go, I'm not Paul. I get mistaken for Colin Farrell all the time. The dude from Office Space. I've told that story. Livingston, his sister Jen Livingston, actually, before I even knew who he was, probably before he had even made it, she was a local news reporter in my town and said that I had looked like her brother. She wouldn't shut up about it. And I was like, yeah, I get that all the time. She's like, I gotta take a picture. She took a picture. And I found out later somebody was like, oh yeah, that's Jen Livingston. She's the news reporter. I'm like, oh, cool, da 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 da. I didn't realize until like 10 years later that, is it Ron Livingston? Is her brother. So I was like, oh shit, that's kind of funny. Because somebody was like, oh, you look like the dude from Office Space. So... But I used to get Jim Rome all the time. People would ask me for autographs. People would ask me for autographs. They thought I was Mike Hampton, who's like a 5-foot pitcher for the Braves, maybe, or maybe the Mets. But I was in Omaha at a bar, and a girl wouldn't leave me alone. She kept like, oh, da 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 da, like blah blah blah. And I signed her autograph. I signed the autograph with my name, and then I put, I'm pitching right now. And she goes back to her table and shows all of her friends. And you can see like their weird look on their face when she's showing them. And she was drunk, but she's going crazy, and they're like, okay, and I'm sure she's like, I just got Mike Hampton's autograph, and they're like, that doesn't look like Mike Hampton, the name, and then it says, and then finally one of them hands it back to her, and she looks up at the TV and keeps looking at the TV, and then looks at me, and I'm laughing, my table's laughing, and she comes over and was like, what the fuck? Um, yeah, I get mistaken all the time. So since I've got the haircut and done the beard, I've had two random ladies walk up to me in the gym and interrupt me while working out with headphones on. One lady was like, "Hey, are you that lawyer?" Or she's like, "Hey, are you that doctor that I talked to a few months back?" I go, "No." She goes, "Oh, you're not a doctor?" I go, "No, not at all. I'm like the opposite of a doctor." And she's like, "Oh, you're a lawyer?" And I go, "No, I don't like them either." And she goes, "Oh, what do you do?" And I go, "Well, I'm a property manager, you know." And she goes, "Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, I thought you were this guy that blah blah blah." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna continue to work it out now. Thank you very much." Uh, but yeah, I get mistaken all the time for famous people. I mean, for the most part, it's amusing. Um, I was working yesterday and was talking to a coworker a couple of weeks ago and found out that I have a new boss. We found out my direct supervisor got fired, and then through that discussion, I found out that there's a new like one man in charge of the company, whereas before we had a bunch of owners and investors, and they just throw a bunch of crap at us and hope it works and no communication type thing. Well, now I hear that there's this one boss man hired. There's one person in charge now, which is nice. So going through the week, we find out, oh yeah, you got to get this stuff to me. You got to go into Outlook and file a W-9 and do this and that. And I can't get into Outlook because I did taxes with TurboTaxes way back in the day, and it was like Intuit and blah blah blah, and his old account, and they were verifying my number, and I got to call customer service and da 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 da. So, um, um, I get frustrated and I know that my boss is from Texas and I get frustrated, so I send a voicemail to my customer care rep who I deal with one on one. And my voicemail goes like this. "Oh, hey guys, come on in. Sorry for the quick meeting, but I just realized that this business is really just a pile of shit. So let's just throw another app at this thing and hope it works. But instead of doing these apps that just started up like a month ago and they're using us for guinea pigs, let's do some kind of software or something that's a lot older." "Well, hey boss, why don't we do QuickBooks? That's a nightmare, and that'll fuck up their pay for the third time in a row, so that's a bonus." "You know what? That's a great idea. All right, boys. Good thinking. Meeting adjourned." So I send this voicemail off, and then I get really stoned, and I'm in working, and my work phone goes off, and my work phone never goes off. So I pick it up, and I go, "Hello? Hey, this is Adam with Anytime Storage." And I'm like, "What the fuck? Hey, who is this?" "Oh, sorry, we haven't met yet. This is Adam with Anytime Storage. I'm the new president." Whatever he is, I forget what his official title is. But I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? I'm like, at first I was like, somebody's fucking with me. But at first I was, like, originally I was like, this is me. And then I'm like, no, this is someone fucking with me. And then I'm like, is this the fucking real guy that I sound exactly like? And then I'm like, fuck, I just sent that voicemail to Judy. She fucking shared it with them. So we have a really great conversation. I get off the phone and I send a message to my customer care rep. I'm like, hey, okay, you know that voicemail you can't play for anybody else. She goes, no, I only play your shit to my husband. I know better than that. And I'm like, okay, because I would get fired if that came out. That sounds like I'm making fun of him, and I mean I was, but I didn't meet him. Like, that voice sounds like I am imitating him to a fucking T. I go, you need to delete that fucking voicemail. So, I get done with all of that shit, and I go to walk my dogs out the back. And I look on the cameras, and there were people there. So I was like, all right, shit, I can't bring my dogs out, but I was going to do something anyway. So I run out to do the quick business thing, and I'm walking over there, and I hear this guy go, well, shoot, I can get $1.50 right for this right here. And without even thinking, I go, shoot, dang, I'll give you $2 right now. And he goes, and I'm walking up the aisle so they can't see me, you know? And he goes, what? And she goes, huh? And he goes, what'd you say? And she goes, you was talking. And he says, well, I was, but not anymore. And then at that point, I walk around the corner and I go, and he looks up and he's got a NASCAR hat on and these wraparound glasses. I forget the shirt that he had on, but it was like so stereotypical and like Hoonigan or something. But he does one of these, and I go, afternoon, folks. So it was the whole redneck, like, rah, 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 rah. And so that was kind of funny. And then I get hit up with an old buddy of mine. Hits me up on Facebook, and he's not tech at all. I've got a few friends that are not that have been probably been forced into social media by their wife, and he's one of them, or maybe because of business. But a good buddy of mine, but he was always the opie kind of, just not a dumb, just like an aw shucks kind of. He was just a good kid, and he's a good guy, and I know that his like, when I'd go over, his mom would be like, you know, I'd ring the door and she'd open up the door and be like, "Hi, Nick." Actually, she was one of the nice ones. She was always really happy to see me, but for the most part, my friends' parents would have the same reaction of like, "Hi, Nick. So and so home?" "Yeah, so and so." And then, you know, he'd come running out, and then they'd go, "So and so, be safe." But Kale was the worst because he was such a good kid, and I would get him into trouble all the time. I think the first time we got into trouble, we were kind of in an airport zone, and we flew a kite up as high as we could, and we were like tying it to like rolls of string and like multiple rolls of string. Like, we were finding string all over the neighborhood for months after that. It was amazing. But we were flying this up way too high, and like the cops came. It was a disturbance. Like the airplanes, the pilots actually called in to radio control or air control, and then air control called the cops and scrambled a cop over there to tell us not to fly these kites. And but this guy, my buddy Kale, hits me up, and he goes, "Oh, dude," sends me this message on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, remember that time that you made me steal your parents' car?" Shit. So we had this old Chevy Citation, and the muffler had like fallen off the exhaust, and it was just so loud you couldn't drive it. And I didn't have my license yet. He did. So I convinced him to sneak out one night. And so at like midnight, 11 o'clock-ish, whatever, we push my car from my parents' house all the way around the addition out to the highway. And the plan was you start it up real quickly and then shut her down. I will run back to the house and make sure that you can't hear this car start up. So I run back to the house. I actually do hear the car start up all the way at the highway. But I run back and I'm like, hey, yeah, you can hear it, but I mean, let's just start it up and just drive off. We're fine. So we started up, drive it off. We'd go maybe 2 miles. Once we get into town, the cop pulled us over and was like, so, yeah, I got into a little bit of trouble with Kale. We had a time where we had another neighbor, and his older brother was visiting another neighbor of Kale, she was really cute. But she had an older brother, I think, who our mutual friend's older brother hung around, and his car was out front, and Kale had a BB gun, or I had a BB gun, somebody had a BB gun, and it was one of those where like, depending on how hard you pump it, and so I was like, well, let's see. Just pump the shit out of this thing from up in his bedroom window, and then shot this dude's car window out. So, Mad Amen, this was my official apology. I believe your car window got busted out. That was me. I'm sorry, buddy. I won't say your nickname on here that I know pushes your button. That's my apology. But yeah, I was a bad influence on my buddy Kale, but he hit me up, and it was fun kind of reminiscing with him. I hope to see him down in Arizona. He comes down here on a hunting trip every year, I guess. So I was like, dude, I got mountain land. What's up? You got it for free. So it'd be fun to see him. Kale was a really good buddy of mine, along with Raps, who was kind of a sprinkling of inspiration for the dog charity, which is going to get rolling. Another good buddy of mine, Teddy Ball Game, Theodore. Talked to Ted today. He was another really good, just good dude, and he texted me like, hey, couldn't call. I've been at my daughter's volleyball tournament. I'm like, oh, cool, tell your daughter I said spike one down to the floor, thereby causing a point or something, with a wink face, And then I was like, just kidding, buddy. I followed women's volleyball for a semester in college. I know a lot about it. I know the hottest little brunette girl always wears a special colored jersey. She's called the libero, which means tiny hotness in Spanish. I was in college and I was always like, the instructor was my age. I went to college after I got out of the Navy, after I served, so I was older, and one of the instructors was younger. He would bust me in class, like doing other stuff, and one day I'm just checking out women's volleyball shorts, and he's like, Nick, I told you, and I go, no, this is my project. So I did a project where I did the science of women's volleyball shorts, how they always make any butt look amazing, and the ultimate thing was like, are they comfortable? Are these the most comfortable things to wear playing volleyball, or is it to draw fans in? I don't know. I've never played volleyball in those amazing skin tight, butt hugging, thong short things. Um, but he was disgruntled. I think I still did a good score. I got a good score on it because I did a Howard Cosell voice with it. I can't remember the stuff, but I talked like this throughout the story. The volleyball shorts is mankind's biggest mystery, and today we attempt to unravel that. But there was, for our final, it was, we had to do, oh no, that final was the Baywatch commercial, but I had him in another class, and that was, we had to do a final. It was 3 essay questions. And so I went into the final just retarded stoned and was like, "Oh bullshit this." And so he gave us 1 page of paper, and I went up and I was like, "Hey, can I get another one?" He's like, "You made a mistake. Just," and I was like, "No, no, I need another one," because he's like, "Well, just write it on the back." And I go, "I know, I already used it." And he goes, "Dude, you're just supposed to do 1 page." And I go, "I know, I'm just wrapping up a point." So he gives me a page. I had to go back and get another page. So I did 3 full pages. So I basically did 1 essay page. I did front and back, right? He gave me extra credit on this final. And he comes into my bar. I bartended at a place while I went through college. And he comes in one night and he goes, and I give him a drink, and I go do my stuff, and I come back, and he goes, "Hey, let me ask you a question." He goes, "Do you smoke marijuana?" And I go, "Yeah, all the time." I thought it's like I don't try to. Yeah, yeah, I am right now. Like then when I go out the back, I'm getting high. And he's like, "Shut up." And I go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'm stoned right now." And he goes, "Are you kidding me?" And I go, "No, not at all." And he goes, "Were you high for the," and this is way back when, before like pot was mainstream. So people were still under the impression that you, like, the minute you smoke pot, you go, "Oh man, if the pizza wasn't," oh my god, a great story about Teddy. Um, fuck. So, this guy goes, he goes, "Were you stoned for the final?" And I go, "I was retarded stoned for the final." And he goes, "Man, I have been wondering about that for the longest time." Like, he goes, "You did 6 pages when I only needed one." And I go, "Oh, yeah." And I go, "And you know what? I didn't read the material at all." And he goes, "Fuck off." And I go, "Dude, that was all bullshit." And he goes, "Fuck off." And I go, "Yeah." So, but uh, Ted was always a pro jock. He is the nicest guy in the world. He was married to my sister, and we remained very close friends. He's one of those rare guys. I've got a handful of buddies, but I know I can call him up at any time with anything, and he would help me out. For the longest time, he was like, that was probably his biggest weakness, was just he was so nice. You know, it wasn't like he was a mark, but he'd even know when people were kind of taking advantage of him, and it would still help him out or whatever. I think it took a lot of his close people to be like, "Dude, you gotta be," you know. But that was when we were younger. But so he goes. Well, I first started hanging out with him and his family and become kind of family friends with them because my sister was married to him. He was my brother-in-law. So there was one time where we had it was family hangout. Both families were in Omaha hanging out, and me and Ted's little brother used to hang out because we were big stoners. So we would sit down in the basement and we would play a bass fishing game, but we had, like, you know, penalties and rewards and stuff made out for, like, if a fish got away, you know, you would have to do this, and if, you know, da 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 da. Most of it was like smoking cigarettes or smoking pot, whatever. And then we're down there and we're blowing through the old ghetto filter where you take the toilet paper roll with fabric softeners and stuff it in there, and then you take another fabric softener wrapped around the outside with a rubber band. So we're blowing into this homemade filter. Ted came down stressed out about everything, and I was like, dude, just take a little tiny hit of pot, man. It's gonna settle you down. For some reason, I was not talking like William Shatner when I said it. I'm doing it now, though. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Oh, thank you. So I could smoke a little bit of pot. And then his brother's like, yeah, come on, smoke it. Like, you know you want it. A little bit ain't gonna know. So he smokes a little bit of pot, goes up. We're playing the game. My little sister comes down. And at this point, we were like young. I think I was maybe 16 or 17-ish. Little sister was like 12-ish. I don't know. 12, 13. But she comes in, she goes, hey, what's wrong with Ted? And I go, nothing. Why? Because he's outside, he seems confused. She must have known. I was smoking pot all the time. She was older. She knew what the hell we were doing. She goes, because he's outside, he seems confused. No, he's fine. He's just going through some stuff. It's alright. Just leave it alone. It's no big deal. So she goes upstairs. And I'm like, fuck. Pause. Run upstairs. I walk outside, and Ted's in the middle of the driveway looking at his garage light. I go, hey, buddy, what's up? And he goes, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. I just realized something. And I go, yeah, maybe we should go inside and talk about it. Because this is like family get-together at a family suburban home. So they're like, mom's at the kitchen table, there's people in the living room on the couch, there's fuckers out back grilling, there's kids running around. I go, yeah, let's go inside and talk about it then. And he goes, hold on, come here. And so I walk over to him in the middle of this driveway. I go, what's up? And he goes, what if my garage light was the center of the universe? I go, oh, fuck, man. Get inside, bro. They bring him down into the basement. We stashed him down there for a little while. Holy shit. But he was such a good dude and a good person. The amazing thing about him is I met him, he got me into hockey. And I met him when my sister first started dating him. We went to a college hockey game of his. And I remember watching him, he was skating around during one of his shifts and something happened. And I saw his switch and he just absolutely fucking demolished a dude into the boards. There were stories in college of him, like, one dude, there was this fight and there was this one dude who like took his keys and then put his key through his hands and hit my boy Ted and like through his mouth. Like, then like grabbed a rag and then ran after the guy. Yeah, just an absolute badass. Unless you are a vampire. After Ted got divorced from my sister, we were roommates for a while. Weird, I know. And I was working restaurants at some restaurant, and standard restaurant uniforms, all black. It was a nice place. So it was all black dress pants, nice black dress shirt. I had a long black trench coat that got stolen from a hooker in La Crosse, by the way, when I was at John's Bar. But I had a really nice Wilson black trench that I bought out in Beverly Hills, actually off the street. Uh, but all black. And I come home drunk from and fucked up from working one night, and Teddy is passed out on the lazy boy, and so I hovered over him with my all black and started whispering to him and would get louder until he woke up. And I had been doing it for a while before he woke up. So I know I creeped into his subconscious, because when he woke up, he was freaked out. But so when he, so I was saying stuff like, I was hovering over him, and I was saying stuff like, Theodore, you will join the eternal darkness of my immortal dead. You will have everlasting life, fueled by the blood of the innocent. And I just was doing this for a while, I remember. When he finally woke up, he went, what are you doing, man? And I go, oh, hey, Ted, sorry to wake you, man. And I just went like trudging off to my bedroom. So I sat in there like laughing for a while. And then I was going to go out and apologize because I didn't hear him like moving around. I was going to go out and mess with him again, because when I'd mess with him, he'd just go back to sleep. And I'm like, dude, get up, like go to your bedroom. Like I'm always harping on him. So I'm going to mess with him again. And I walk out and he's gone. So I go to his bedroom door and I go to open it, and it's barricaded. So I go to sleep, wake up in the next morning, and I'm like, knock, knock, knock. I go, Ted, are you okay, man? And he's like, leave me alone. I go, dude, are you okay? And he goes, yeah, I'm fine. Just leave me alone, man. And I don't know if he let me in or what, but he moved. He did. He moved the dresser. There was a dresser. This is one of the toughest dudes I know, and he had moved his dresser in back of the door to keep me from getting in that night. But yeah, Teddy, Kale, Raps, all good friends. Two, I hope I can get on the podcast one day, and one unfortunately won't be because he's no longer with us. But Raps lives on as a little bit of an inspiration for the dog charity that we have officially got rolling. So we're working on the logo. We're going to work on getting legit. I'm going to file some papers officially through a newspaper and all this weird stuff. So, but I also realized what I was going to do was do a year-long recap, and that I couldn't do because I took diligent notes throughout the year, because it started so bad and ended up really good. It was pretty amazing. And so I wanted to do like a year recap, and so I took a bunch of notes, and normally I just rip these things off. I go, okay, I'm going to talk about some dude who thought I was a good friend of his today in the parking lot, and then I just end up rambling for a good 34 minutes. But this was an important thing, so I wanted to take notes so I didn't forget anything, and of course I lost my notes. Same thing happened with Handful of Heartache. It was a previous podcast where I talked about the few women that I have cared about. I was a womanizing douchebag when I was younger, and I had a few women that have left a mark on me, whether it be good or bad, and I didn't want to forget anybody. And I realized I forgot somebody huge, Leilani. The girl that I lost my virginity to. I was a late bloomer when it comes to sexual activity. I, was raised Catholic, and so repressed. And I was a romantic. Um, so I believed my first time, was going to be I'm gonna fall in love and everything. Da 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 da. So I didn't even masturbate for the longest time. I was pretty old when I discovered masturbation, but even then I was like, whoa, this feels good. But when was that? That was after the Supersonics finals. I was a sophomore the first time I wanked it. My girlfriend was the girl that I got a job at McDonald's with for a couple of days. I got a job at McDonald's for a couple of days to ask out this girl who was at my school but a year older, and I just transferred to a public school, so I was new. I got this job over the summer, got her number on my second day, and was like, "Peace out." She's like, "What?" And I go, "I got this job for your number. I'm gonna quit right now." And she goes, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, hey boss, I quit." And he goes, "What?" And I go, "I quit." And I walked off. So, but we were making out, and she wore so much makeup. It was like a mask. I got done. Like, we were making out, and I was like, man, I gotta go. This was like an important game of the Supersonics. I forgot who they were playing. I was a huge Sean Kemp fan when I was a kid. But I was like, okay, this is awesome. This is like kind of my first girlfriend makeout session also. I was like, okay, this is awesome, but I gotta go. So I was like, all right, bye. I run home. I remember I got in the bathroom and saw I had caked foundation. Didn't know what that was at the time, but it just grossed me out. I think that's where I think that started like my dislike towards makeup and high maintenance stuff and the jewelry and stuff like that. But probably scarred me. But either way, I had it caked all over my lips and like wiped it off, and then ran into the living room, turned on ESPN to watch the rest of this basketball game. And then afterwards, I was like, I'm so horny. And I remember a commercial came on for a washer and dryer, but the actress was so hot. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try this thing. So, but yeah, I was so I would have been 16 the first time I made love to myself. But I was 18, almost 19. No, I was about 18 and a half when I lost my virginity. I just joined the Navy. I was stationed out, and I finished up boot camp. I was hospitalized when I was in boot camp, real bad, from pneumonia. Almost died. I got stationed out in San Diego. I was partying. I had met this girl, this adorable little Hawaiian. Maybe she was Hawaiian, but she was tiny, little, and adorable. And her name was Leilani, which means beautiful flower. And we went on a couple of dates. Had sex. It was very quick for her the first time. I believe I rebounded with a mulligan later. Yes. Yes, we did. Because in the morning, yes, we did. I made up for it. In the morning, we walk out. Her roommate was this San Diego State football player, an offensive lineman, huge dude. He's out there eating like 4 breakfasts, and she plops down on the chair with a cup of coffee, hits the play on the answering machine, and the first message is, hey Leilani, I'm starting to show symptoms, so I guess we always kind of knew it was, inevitable, but you should probably go get tested. You can reach me at da-da-da-da-da number. Please give me a call. Hangs up. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? And the roommate is like, no, he didn't hang up. They stopped it. And the roommate was like, oh yeah, so-and-so was coming back, was sniffing around and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, fuck, I remember I left. I walked outside for a while. Big dude came and found me. I was like, hey, he was like, hey man, you know, we both understand, you know, so, but I figured I would give you a ride home. I was like, yeah, thank you. And I remember he filled me in on the huge backstory about it. But her ex boyfriend had two parents, and one parent died of AIDS, and the other one was very sick from AIDS. No, they had both passed from AIDS, and he was trying to say that he was not. He was sick with it, but he was starting to say, or HIV, and he was starting to say that he had AIDS or something like that. But either way, it was. I mean, I'm a Wisconsin boy. Like, this is. Like, I stayed this. I mean, AIDS was a very scary thing back when I was growing up. And, for me to stay virgin, I'm like, are you. This is fucking perfect. This is like exactly my perfect life. Like, I stay a virgin till I'm 18 and then I get AIDS the first time I have sex. So, but it turns out this dude was just trying to get back with her and everything like that. And unfortunately, when you go through something like that, it's changes how you think about that other person. So me and Leilani never, obviously worked out. But welcome to sex. And I think I was like, I'm never having sex again. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm just banging chicks left and right. Slut bag. But either way, Leilani is an addendum that belongs in my Handful of Heartache, because she definitely made a lasting impression. What else happened since we talked last? I got scammed out of some cash. An old girl that I'd met a while ago on a dating app that we had texted, and I don't know what this was supposed to mean. We didn't do that. We had texted. I took her out on a date, but it just wasn't there. Attraction wasn't there. We've stayed in contact, Snapchat, and she snapped something. She looked like Kiki Palmer. I'm Kiki Palmer. I think that's his name. That's her name. But she was younger than me, and after my last ex, Brianna, I was like, can't do this again. But we stayed in contact through Snap. Anyway, she did it. This was, almost a year later, couple of years later. Year and a half. She snapped. I say something on Snap like, blah blah blah, hot or something, sexy as fuck or something, sexy AF, yummy or something. And she's like, I miss you, something flirty back. And I was like, she's going to ASU, but she goes online and she lives in Vegas. So, she's like, I'd love to come back. No. My car's. She goes, something. My temporary place is gone. I go, well, if you ever come back, you're welcome to crash in my place anytime. There's room, And I'm throwing that invite out. Obviously, like, you can crash here. No strings attached. But I'm hoping, like, hey, I'm letting you crash here. I'm gonna bang you a few times because of the implications. But I mean, she's cute, I'm cute. I just don't think the sparks were there. I think we both understood what it was going to be. But she's like, yeah, I don't have enough money, blah, 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 you know, it's too bad because I found a super cheap flight too. And I was like, how much? She's like, $80. And I was like, $80? I got that. I was like, I'll pay for your flight. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, it's super cheap because it's a week. I'm like, yeah, yeah, you can crash there for a week. And she's like, oh my God, that'd be awesome, you know. So then we planned on it. And we were making plans. It was going to coincide over Valentine's Day. I was like, ha ha ha, this will be the first Valentine's Day where I actually have a date, you know. And she's like, yeah, that'll be fun, you know, blah, 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 blah. So uh, the night before the flight, and she's like, oh, yeah, bag check fee is $50. And I'm like, fuck. Okay, now we're talking $130. I'm like, yeah, no big, you know, and I'm like, oh, now we're talking 180 because it's got to be a bag on the way back. I'm like, oh, so that's another $100, huh? And she's like, no, my mom said she'll pay for half. So I was like, all right, cool. Here's another $50. I sent her another $50, and then she misses the flight the next day. So don't know if I got scammed. Don't really care, but it did bring up a story from when I was super, super young. I had just graduated college and I took a job refinancing VA mortgages. But the thing is, we didn't have an office, so we would go to the veterans' homes, which is very suspicious. As a mortgage lender back in the mid 90s, who the hell comes to your house? This seems like a scam. Plus, we do other stuff that made it seem scammy. But we weren't. We were legit. The company that I worked for was the number one refi provider for VA loans. But we would go into the office very early in the morning, do our stuff, and then the reps would go out and travel around the Midwest. And our secretary was this chubby girl named Christy. And my boss, Bob, was awesome. Bob Savage. If this ever gains traction, Bob Savage, or family of Bob Savage. He looked like a Droopy, the bloodhound, the cartoon bloodhound. The dog like this. And Bob kind of talked like that. But great dude. Borrowed me $800 right before I quit. I owe you $800, Bob Savage. I hope you're out there. But this girl Christy was super nice. You know, she was our secretary, and I was nice to her. I would come in, I would bring coffee in for her and Bob, you know, or get donuts for everybody, you know. But either way, I would talk to her, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, years later, it was like 5 or 6 years later, Facebook, MySpace, I think it was MySpace, this girl Christy hits me up. She's in San Diego. She's and the Christy that I know was a brunette, big boned girl. She was a Nebraskan farm girl. And the girl that hits me up on MySpace or Facebook is a very tall, skinny blonde. She's got blue eyes. She's married to a SEAL stationed in San Diego. And so she hits me up and we are chatting and everything, and I'm helping her with her issues. She's telling me that she's having problems with her husband, and she throws out some lines every once in a while, like, you know, sometimes I wish it was you that I had married. And I was like, because I'm not attracted to her. She's got the blue eyes. They're fake contacts, because if it is the Christy, you know, I know she got brown eyes, which I'm into, you know. And just either way, like, this was still, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't mess around with one of my shipmates. He's oh no, he wasn't a SEAL, he was a Marine, but either way, he's my shipmate. Like, there's a code. I'm not gonna, you know. So she would always throw out, you know, stuff, but I'd thwart her advances. Not interested, you know. A couple of times she even asked me point blank, you know, I go, Christy, I'm just not interested in you. I'm sorry. I think of you as a little sister more than anything. And she's like, I know, I always thought of you as a big brother, but you're so hot, da 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 da. Yeah, she goes, at your going away party, I dropped my phone down the deck. Do you remember that? That's when I fell in love with you. I was like, what are you talking about? I was hammered drunk. You dropped your phone down the deck, so I had to fucking climb underneath this 20-foot deck on my going away party right before I went out to the bars. I was pissed when I got it. And it turns out she's catfishing me the whole time. She's still in Omaha. She's still a very large woman. She still looks the exact same way. But I don't know this at the time, so I'm like, no, I'm not, nope. And she goes, okay, well, if we don't have a thing, then, you're such a great guy. You really should be with I've got a great friend, her name's Jen. She lives out here with me. And so I friend this girl, Jen, and I'm like, still, like, if she was blue-eyed blonde, I'm like, not interested. But this one I didn't meet before or whatever, so when she got flirty with me and sexy toned, I was like, all right, let's do this. So we started having some, so yeah, it was sexting, sext messaging, which was awesome because that was like brand new. That wasn't commonplace. But she wants to come visit me for Valentine's Day. And I was like, I don't know. And she forces it on me. And I'm like, look, I don't want to, if you come out here. I was blunt and honest. When I was a dick, when I was a womanizer, I was always honest. I would tell girls that I never had a girlfriend. They would see it as a challenge. But this girl, I remember very explicitly being like, look, if you come out here, she's like, no, I know people. I was living in the Twin Cities at the time. She goes, no, I know other people in the Twin Cities. I'll come out for 3 days, and if, we don't hit it off, blah, blah, I can always get a place. And I'm like, well, you don't have to get a place. Even if we don't hit it on, you can still crash at my place. I have a roommate, so it's all, it's all good. We got an extra room, But she ended up convincing me to come out and visit me, and then no shows, doesn't respond or anything. Like I was supposed to pick her up the night before. I made veal bolognese, which was fucking bomb. Fusilli veal bolognese, and then I was supposed to pick her up the next day early, and she stopped responding that night. So I was like, okay, that's what's up. So I didn't drive to the airport or anything like that the next day, but after I gave it that day, then that night, I hit up Chrissy, was like, I always knew something was weird going on, but I just don't understand your play. Why did this girl, da 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 da. And so she gives me a bunch of shit, and I catch her lying, and I find out that Jen is just a 100% catfish, made up account. The Christy Vitus account was 100% made up, but that is her name, But yeah, she's still in Omaha. She's still big. She's got a bunch of kids. She said something about I wanted to scare the crap out of her because I go, well, that I'm good friends with the DA in Omaha. And I already sent him your numbers and the email correspondence and the MySpace and Facebook profiles and all of your information. And she's like, oh my God, don't do that. I'm in the middle of this custody battle. And like, da, 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 da. I was like, you should have thought of that before. Like, this is 100%. I think I said it was identity fraud because she stole the other girl Jen's pictures and stuff and pretended to be her or something like that. And I wasn't going to do anything, but scared the shit out of her for a night. But yeah, got catfished. It was a good catfish. Got scammed. Came up with a very good dating app idea. If a 100% transparent dating app, so you know why. Because I'm like the king of, I get a notification on my phone and it says, hey, you got a match on Tinder. And before I even pull it up, they gone. I have heard that it's because my pictures don't look real. I look like a scammer. So I changed my account, and it's like, hey, I'm a small time actor, so my looks vary from my pictures. Here's a link of my podcast. You know, I'm a teacher. I like kids. I like helping and fixing things. Um, but yeah, I never get matches. Very rarely does a conversation continue past one response. I think I have 8 matches from all of my time with Tinder, and it's like, you know, initial response, boom, they respond, and then it's like 5 questions that get repeatedly worse. Like, first question is usually something to keep their attention. Hey, if you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what would it be? And they answer, and then don't ask me back what mine is. That is a very telling sign. But you know, oh, Legally Blonde. Oh yeah, that Witherspoon's a great actress. You know, blah blah blah. Mine's Miracle. It gets me jacked. Big plans for the weekends, or another interesting question to keep them. You know, no response at all. So then after a while, I'm like, how was your week? No response. Then as I go, how have your last 2 weeks been? And then I'm like, hey, if I have, because I've asked him weird questions before that I asked, like kind of fun, interesting questions that I follow up with. If I could ask you one question that could get you to hold a conversation, what would it be? But yeah, so my dating app ID is full transparency. Why did these girls get rid of me? I'd love to know. I'm freaking curious. The other thing that this would help with, this would help curb stupid fads. Facial piercings, swine rings. Each girl that I swipe left on or match with and then unmatch as the reason, I can go, oh, sorry, I didn't see that you have a swine ring. And then hopefully these girls will see like all the unmatches because of her metal booger, and then she'll be like, oh, maybe I take this out. I just did this because all of my friends were doing it. It does look stupid. Wait, swines really do this. This is how it started. They do this to keep them from choking on their own, from rooting around in their own crap. Maybe I won't. Maybe I will take this out of my face because it ruins my beauty. No, but full transparency of a dating app. It'll tell you why people unmatched. For chicks, you can be like, he's rude. 2 sentences in, and he's showing me a dick pic. Why did you unmatch this dude? He showed me a dick pic. And the hook is it's free, but then when you pay for the membership is when you get to see what the other people think about you. So, and then you can see the reviews on the other person also. There will be an overall score. If you are throwing out dick pics, you are a 1. If you're a nice guy, rich, you're getting 5s. Anybody want to make some money off that? Hit me up. All right. I just talked for an hour, god damn it. Cheeks. All right. Like, subscribe, do all of that stuff, and share. Where is my cursor going? Do all of that stuff because this charity is going to start rolling out, and you have an opportunity to not only help furry, adorable, cute little doggies that just want a second chance, that did nothing wrong except for getting horrible parents, and veterans, tough guys who made the ultimate sacrifice to keep you safe and maintain your rights, that now are living in this online social media world and are lonely. We're going to match them together. Renegade Valley Dog Rescue. Information coming soon. The people that subscribe and like and share this will be privy to the information and can buy awesome t-shirts like this and back. Proceeds 100% to Renegade Valley Dog Rescue. Boom!